Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Panel Pals, the comic book podcast for thinkers. We're your hosts, Diane Hitchings.
And Jack Stewartson.
How are you doing, Jack, on this fine, dark fall evening?
Yeah, we've fallen back. I was hoping to come to the podcast all excited with a Blue Jays World Series win, but I guess the magic of baseball wasn't in my favor.
No. Yes, today at work, someone asked me, "Did you see the game?" And I said, "No. Did we lose?" And they said, "Yes." And I was like, okay, I don't actually know what that means. How many games are left? And they were like, "No, we lost." And I'm like, oh man, that's
over.
Too bad. I mean, and then I said, you don't really get a silver medal, do you, huh? No.
No, you're just the first loser.
No. Too bad. Well, them's the shakes, I guess. But yeah, anyways, yes, Blue Jays happened. Daylight saving time happened. Woohoo. Love getting an extra hour of sleep.
Yeah, the best kind.
Love it being 5 p.m. and pitch blackout.
Yes, yeah, now we are officially in winter because of how dark it is at this point.
Yeah. But whatever. I work mornings, so I don't care. I don't have to leave work at 5 p.m. and see it pitch blackout. Nah. I just get to work at 5 a.m. and it's pitch blackout. Woohoo.
Yeah, you get both sides of it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, you ready for today's episode?
Yeah, speaking of pitch black, speaking of dark.
I'm excited because when I messaged you to get a time to record this, you replied, "This is gonna be a wild one." And I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see what he thinks.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever read a manga or a comic quite like this.
Excellent. All right. Before I go into my little starting blurb, Jack, do you have any starting thoughts about the manga Boys Abyss?
I don't know. Should we do I don't know if we want to do a content warning. Content warnings are I don't know. I'm not a fan of them, but this is pretty out there. This is a little different.
Yes, content warning. This entire manga is about suicide. And
yeah, among other things. And it's not exactly treated with the caution and respect that these sort of topics should be treated with, but yes, content warning for that. Ooh-wee. Yeah.
So any starting thoughts?
I'll say this, I couldn't put it down.
Yes, we read the entirety of this manga for this episode, so very exciting. We get to talk about the end. And for those of you who have read this, yes, we'll see what the end is like. Haha. All right, anyways, and here we go. Why do we consume media? A lot of reasons, really. On one end of the extreme, pure and simple entertainment is one option. Media is a good way to pass the time, to shove something into our eyeballs or ears for a period of time that we don't have to do anything else, or we have nothing else to do. On the other end of the spectrum is the more utilitarian reason for storytelling. Historically, media was a useful tool for conveying myths, fables, stories, morality tales, laws, etc. Medieval churches used artwork on the walls to tell the Bible stories because the congregations could not read. Oral storytelling has been used to pass on information for generation after generation for thousands of years. This still exists, of course. Training videos for jobs exist. Pictures and words in conjunction with each other are used to convey information every day, and that's technically a comic, baby. But most media exists in the middle ground between the two extremes of make me not bored and give me information. Most media, especially in the current day, tries to entertain and to espouse some sort of idea or viewpoint. A mix of entertainment and learning something / exploring some viewpoint / conveying a message. So, in the question of why we consume media, we have some formal reasons. Now, what are the conceptual reasons? As in, why do we consume media in the sense of what emotional response am I seeking from this piece of media? With comedy, for example, we vie to evoke laughter and enjoyment. Romance stories, maybe to feel fuzzy and warm as we watch some people have a cute relationship. Horror and thrillers, to feel spooked, a rush of adrenaline. Psychological or introspective stories to make us think. Mystery to make us think in a different way. Slice of life, usually that's just a comfy, fuzzy, warm feeling. And most of these are relatively positive emotions. But what if there was another option? To feel bad. Now, tragedies exist. Romeo and Juliet is old as hell. Why do people consume tragedies if they are sad? Entertainment, of course. Usually tragedies have some drama, and oh boy, do humans love drama. Tragedies also have a moral to them, either about the cruel, unfeeling world or about personal decisions in life. Tragedies can also be catharsis. There are a lot of, autobiographical and biographical comics that have some aspects of tragedy in them, and writing about tragedy or trauma can be cathartic, and reading about someone who has gone through something similar to you can likewise be cathartic. But again, tragedies have a reason to exist, a moral, some sort of conclusion that says something. All media does, really. Any of these genres that I've mentioned. On purpose or by accident, every story says something. We interact with media, seeking what that story has to say. And so I asked, why did we read Boys Abyss? Boys Abyss is a manga written and drawn by Ryo Minenami that ran from 2020 to 2024. The series consists of 183 chapters compiled into 18 volumes. Boys Abyss follows Reiji Kurose, a high school boy with a relatively normal yet depressing life. He goes to school, he has some friends, he likes an idol group called Acrylic. He lives in a rural city with his mom and brother and grandma, and his family is poor, and his mom is overworked, and he gets bullied by an ex-friend, and he plans to start working right after high school to help support his family. He's not exactly happy. He feels stuck. One day, when buying cigarettes for said friend who now bullies him, he runs into his favorite girl from the Acrylic group, Aoi Nagai. What's she doing way out here in a crappy rural town? And then after a pseudo-date, Nagai asks Reiji to commit suicide with her. The rest of the story then follows Reiji and those around him as Reiji tries to die and tries to live to varying degrees of success. And so, I ask, why did we read Boys Abyss? Why does Boys Abyss exist? No, really, what is the point? I've read through this thing 3 times and what's the point aside from, hey look, these people are suffering? Help. Jack, what's the point?
Yeah, I very quickly caught on to the fact that, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but this is trash, right? This is garbage.
Okay. Explain your opinion, please.
And I do some sort of mean that not lovingly, positively. I don't know. It's like a genre. It's like a Lifetime movie of the week where it's melodrama in its purest form, where it's let's put the craziest, saddest, most emotional thing I can think of on the page to try and tell some sort of story. And people like that. I'm not one of them. But there's a place for that, I think. But it is trash. I don't think this is literature.
That's very funny. What do you mean? What if this is my favorite manga? How could you be so mean? I'm just kidding. Yes, it's interesting. I put this into the category of, yes, it's definitely a drama, definitely melodramatic. I put it in the category of feel bad stories.
Yeah, it's misery porn.
Yeah. Have you read or interacted with many of these types of media before?
I like a Manchester by the Sea, and my favorite anime of all time is End of Evangelion, and I have a panic attack every time I watch it. I can stomach something that's sad.
Yeah.
I think this goes overboard into laughable, but why? What did you have in mind?
I was like, so when you were reading this, did you take it seriously as a serious piece of fiction that was saying something deep?
I think hang on, what is this first volume ends at chapter 7. By about chapter 9, I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. Nothing good can come from this.
Yes, I've looked at, I've read this And it's like a relatively popular manga. Like, I've seen it in bookstores. The reason I started reading it is because I liked, like, the front cover. I thought it looked pretty. And I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. From some of the reviews I've seen, there's quite a few people that are like, hey, it's a good story for the first half of the first volume. And I agree. Like,
accurate.
The first 2 chapters hooked me in. Like, I had high hopes for this manga when I started reading it. Like I mentioned in the last episode about manga we did, about What a Wonderful World, like, I like stories that explore the meaning of life and this, like, nihilism and all that. And so, like, the first chapter or 2 of this series intrigued me. Like, in the first chapter, Chako, Reiji's friend, makes mention, like, she alludes that, like, oh, suicide or being known for suicide, that's better than apathy. And I'm like, ooh, I see some absurdist ideas in here. And then we have, like, Reiji wants to die, and Nagai has no reason to live. And it's like, this sets up a great exploration of life and death and, like, finding a reason to live or finding a reason to not die. Like, I think there's a lot of nuance in these 2 perspectives of these 2 characters that could really be explored. Like, I love being pedantic, and I was like, surely there's, like, a pedantic reason about why the way they phrase it is slightly different. So, like, ooh, how intriguing. And then the rest of the series happens, and I'm like, no, that's not what was happening here. It's just a drama. It's just a drama that's like, what if our core theme, though, was like, everybody kind of wants to commit suicide? And it's like...
Here's the thing about a drama, though. You kind of expect characters to, like, change and be dynamic.
Yes.
And to, like, learn something.
Yep.
Or for something to happen.
Not that just everything, like, it's so cyclical or so, like, circular, like, nobody grows. The same kind of things keep happening and again. Every chapter, like, feels like it ends on, like, ooh, another cliffhanger, another plot contrivance, and then, like, surprise, nothing really happens.
Yeah, let me recount the dialogue of this entire series for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Wish I could leave this town. I can't leave this town. You should leave this town. I'm gonna kill myself. You should kill yourself with me. Don't kill yourself. You should leave this town. But I can't leave this town. Repeat ad nauseum, over and over and over. That's all anyone talks about in this book is killing themselves, not killing themselves, leaving town and not leaving town.
Yeah.
Is this purgatory? Is this a limbo? I think so. I think all of these characters are literally haunted.
I like, okay, good. We're slightly themed to Halloween, even though we're a few days late. Honestly, I like that reading. I like that reading of actually all these characters are dead already, and they're in limbo. That's really funny.
Well, they don't move. Like, they don't...
Yes.
It drives me up the wall.
And yet you read all 183 chapters.
I couldn't stop reading it. I couldn't put it down.
For what reason?
Honest, it was one of those cases of the classic, it can't get worse from here. And then it would just get worse. And it would get worse. Things devolve. Things don't accelerate. Things don't evolve in Boys Abyss. Things devolve.
Yeah. Whatever character traits, you could be like, oh, a character has a character trait. You think it's going to grow? Actually, no. Maybe that character trait will get forgotten. Or maybe the character will just kind of change. Like, for example,
something will be revealed to the characters that they already knew about 4 chapters ago. And then it'll happen again 15 chapters down the road.
I sense you have a little bit of frustration about this series.
Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about Boys Abyss, I think, for the rest of my life. So thanks, Diane.
Well, okay. Yeah, I chose this because, I think about it, and I sit there and I think, and I'm like, what's the point? Well, literally, what's the point? I read this series like a year or so ago, and then I read it through the entirety of it twice for this episode. I read it through it twice in the past 2 weeks, and I've been thinking so much about it, but I still have no reason for what the point of the story is. Because here's the thing, like, we're introduced to these characters, yes, and Reiji doesn't have a great life, you know, general setup for the start of a story. Protagonist, we see his status quo changes, Nagai enters his life, we find out he's super depressed, actually, surprise, even though, like, doesn't seem that bad until he's like, oh wow, how does she know I want to die? And you're like, wait, you want to die? Anyways, whatever. And then you think, oh, this story is going to be about maybe these characters finding a reason to live. And technically there are multiple times throughout the story where Reiji is like, yes, this is why I'm alive. I'm alive to die with this person, or kill this person, or kill this other person, or do this thing. And you're like, boy, you keep saying these things. I don't believe it anymore. Like...
And in the end... That's spoiler for the book, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't understand the ending because it's pretty obtuse, but he doesn't find a reason to live. He's dead at the end, right?
So, the first time I read it through, I was like, so did they just die?
Yeah.
But if you go to the last chapter, and halfway through the last chapter, let me just get through the last chapter... Halfway through the last chapter, after Gen is let out of prison, okay, spoilers, we're spoiling the end, whatever. Gen gets out of prison, Chaco is there, these are Reiji's two friends. You see a panel of Chaco kind of waving, and then on the next page, you see someone sitting in a truck waving back, and it's a guy with light-colored hair. I think it is implied that he and Nagai are living up in the mountain with the author's old girlfriend. I think that's what it's implying.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That would be a better ending than what I think it is. I don't think that the author here has that kind of restraint or foresight.
But the thing is, like, I don't think they kill themselves. I think they are just, whatever, living. Because as edgy as this manga is, it is incredibly toothless. As in...
yeah, that's certainly true. Yeah. No characters don't... This is like the most, like, I guess Camus or defeatist, we are not masters of our lives, like,
yeah,
drives me up the wall.
Yeah. Okay, this is a piece of fiction, and what I'm gonna say is gonna sound awful, but I mean it only in the realms of this story. The fact that no one commits suicide in this story is so toothless.
It's crazy. For the amount of talk, they do not walk.
Yeah, for the amount of people who threaten that they are going to commit suicide or promise they are going to commit suicide. And when we say that's literally the entire story, I do now regret that I didn't go through it and count how many times someone says, I am going to die with you, or let's die together. It's got to be like 20 times. At least. Yeah. Reiji has like 6 different people that he's promised he'll kill himself with. And then he does none of it. Which, like,
everyone in the main cast.
Literally everyone in the main cast. His 2 best friends. His mom, Nagai. He doesn't say he's gonna commit suicide with Miss Shiba, the teacher.
Okay.
I don't think
sure.
so. We'll talk about her. I don't think she's really. I think maybe one time she says that she would be like down with not living because her life is kind of pathetic. But like, surprisingly, she is the most level-headed in this one regard, about nothing else. But in the whole killing yourself thing, yeah. Yeah, it's quite amazing. And then the story ends and like nobody, it like just kind of like the status quo is maintained, nothing really changes. Did you read the last chapter and go, "Oh wait, that's it?" That's the last page? Huh?
Yeah. I do not think that it was earned. I certainly don't think it was earned the way that it ends.
No.
I think it contradicts some character growth that happened to the character that goes through this.
Which character?
Wait,
there was character
Chaco.
growth? Yeah.
Chaco.
Yeah.
Why would she care about this unpublished work by this author who, for one thing, tried to have sex with her, which is crazy, when she was underage, which is crazy.
She was underage.
And two, she recognized that he was a scumbag, like, immediately. I'm gonna say it. She's the best character. Sakuko is the best character in the manga. I need everyone to stay away from her because they're just gonna ruin her, and they do.
Yeah. In my notes, I did have to ask you, got a favorite character in this?
It is Sakuko only out of fear for her safety, concern for her safety and well-being.
Yeah. She is the least awful person here, and she did
nothing wrong. She did literally nothing wrong. She does not deserve everything that happens to her.
Like, she did a couple, like, not great things. Yes, she sold a picture of herself supposedly in bed with Mr. Isamori, the famous author, even though they didn't actually have sex. She just took a picture and she sold that and told them, and pretty much like sold the story to a gossip magazine about kind of a lie, and then ruined some people's life, including her own. Yes, dick move. But like, compared to what other people are doing in this series, she is the best girl. She is the best girl. She's literally the...
Also, Nozue is a scumbag who deserved it.
Yes.
Nozue sucks.
And you know what? And then he dies. And he just dies of cancer. Yeah.
He refuses to die. He takes forever to die.
Yeah. One character dies, and it's the guy who just dies of cancer. And you're like, okay, fine, whatever. Some people's grandparents die, but like, they weren't main characters. The only main character that dies is like an old guy who sucked. I mean, bold that Reiji's mom said, oh, stay away from him, he's a bad guy, when she is the second worst person here.
Oh no, Yuko is the worst. I will say it. Yuko is a literal psychological sociopath. I don't think this person cares about anything in her environment. I think she's just there to stew chaos.
All right, fun debate time. Do you think Yuko, Reiji's mom, is a worse person than Miss Shiba, Reiji's teacher?
I think she is. Well, Shiba doesn't murder people, for one thing.
That is true. Miss Shiba is also, I think, a crazy person who did decide that she was in love and had sex multiple times with an underage student of hers.
Yes, yeah, horrible,
which is
terrible.
Very questionable behavior. Yeah, is she worse than the ringmaster of all this suffering, who also suffered a bunch, and I guess definitely killed multiple people? Yeah, attempted murder as well.
At the very least, she manipulated events in order for at least 2 people to die, if not more. I'm pretty sure it's more.
Let's count. So when her parents' bar burns down, there's a guy in there. He's dead.
He's dead, right?
He's dead. Her boyfriend when she was a kid, he's dead.
Who maybe was actually suicidal? Maybe. But it's unclear, and it's also possible that she drove him to that.
And it is implied that once young Mr. Isamori, whatever his name was when he was not an author, Akira, I think, when he came to like save her, she was like, oh yeah, you came to save me, literally shoves her current boyfriend away from her, lets him float downstream to die.
Right.
Yep. Does she physically kill her husband? No, but it is her fault.
She uses a minor as a weapon to kill her husband, though.
Yeah. She's like, hello, grade 5 student.
Yeah, and then she manipulates events so that the murder is hidden or obfuscated from all law enforcement. So, like, she might as well have done it.
Yeah. And then she attempts to murder Gen's father. I don't know how she managed to convince him to hang himself or how she did it, but anyways, yep, that was definitely her. He doesn't die, but... And, she also does attempt to kill herself by throwing herself in front of Miss Shiba's car.
And she tries to kill Reiji at one point, doesn't she?
Yep. They were gonna go stab themselves. The amount of times people would be holding, like, kitchen knives up to each other to stab each other. Guys, stop. Yeah, so she's awful. Thoughts about Miss Shiba?
Miss Shiba is also one of the worst kinds of people ever. It's the kind of person who thinks that they're doing something helpful, but is only destructive. I don't know what kind of psychological diagnosis you would call that, but
she's definitely like delusional in some ways.
Delusional, verging on narcissistic, like the way that she treats Reiji and then later Nagi is like pets. She doesn't treat them really like people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is bad. She also does lots of statutory rape, which is bad.
Yep. So she got some kidnapping.
She does some kidnapping. She steals someone's phone. She maybe kills her grandpa. No, right?
I think that was just like good in her mind. Good timing.
Good
like,
timing.
Her grandpa dies,
Convenient.
and she's like, "Thanks, grandpa," and then runs off to meet Reiji, and it's like, girl, you are 30 years old. Yeah. So, fun fact, I've seen comments, and I'm going to pray to God they are ironic, but people out here calling Miss Shiba best girl, like, I pray that those people are just kidding.
Those people need to get some help, I think.
Because I swear. Yeah. No, so, like, pretty much none of the characters in the story are very, like, good. Most of them are absolute awful people. One of the things I do have some positive things to say about this manga. One of the things that I do like about it is there is some repeating imagery that I like. Like, for example, every time one of the characters decides to, like, trauma dump all the things they hate about their life to Reiji, it's, like, shown in a 2-page spread with a lot of, like, word balloons. And, like, I think that kind of repeating imagery works for this kind of story, because it's, like, showing how, like, Reiji is being surrounded and, like, by this negativity, and it's getting put upon him by all these people, and that's the kind of thing that could drive a young person like this to suicide. So, like, that's something I like. Unfortunately, it doesn't really help the story. It just gives us a pretty easy way to see the horrible things that are happening in everybody's life, and the way that they whinge about the things that are horrible in their life but don't really do anything to fix them. That's one of my biggest complaints.
Yeah, it's like these characters don't recognize... it's at one point that these characters, like, know that they're in a story, but they refuse to do anything about it, almost. Do you get that vibe? Like, how did the bad things it can't keep happening like this, and you can't recognize, oh, my life is, like, some bizarre tragedy comedy. Like, a regular person would come to terms with this, or would at least clue in, right? Like...
Yeah. And also, a regular person, like, obviously these are characters in a drama, tragedy, romance story, but a regular person would, if they had all these bad things in their life, do something about it. Like, because none of these characters really have no way out. A lot of the characters do have ways out of their trauma. I mean, sure, it's kind of slightly reductive to say, oh, you could just leave. But literally, most of their problems could be solved with just getting out of the town.
Right. Which they can never do, because they're
they
perpetually stuck there in limbo.
Yeah. They are in hell. They are all dead, and they are in hell, and they cannot leave. And it's like, okay, as I say all these things, I'm like, oh, is this the author saying that this is how, like, trauma, especially intergenerational trauma, feels, where it's like, oh, you're stuck, you can't get out, even though there seems to be an easy way out, you can't, you're stuck in this town, you're stuck in your trauma. I don't know if I can give the author that kind of credit, because most of this story just seems like it's trying to find a way to just perpetuate the story and make more chapters.
And to make things worse. Like, things just keep getting worse for these people in a way that is not organic.
No, yes. A lot of it is very contrived. Like, people just happen to meet each other. People happen to run into each other. People happen to see this or come up the exact right time. And yes, it's a story. Contrivances happen. But can only do that so many times before it's like, oh, all right. What's the last page? What new surprise is the last page of this chapter going to give us? Oh, yep. Somebody just happened to be watching. Mm-hmm. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah. Like, and also, I'd be willing to forgive it if I liked any of these characters.
But like, by process of elimination, you like Chaco because she's done the least annoying things and the least bad things.
Yeah. And, like, I don't even, like, Chaco's not a great character. She's certainly not a great depiction of a female person in literature.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Chaco likes. I guess she likes books and idol groups, but like everybody in Japan does. So
yeah, yes, a lot of these characters, for how much time we spend with them, we don't know a lot about them. Like, sure, we know Miss Shiba used to play table tennis.
Yeah, that's almost interesting, but that doesn't factor in any way.
No, we know that Gen, he has a father.
Uh-huh.
He was childhood friends with Reiji. He doesn't smoke all of his cigarettes that he forces Reiji to buy for him. Sometimes he, like, keeps the boxes, even though he does smoke, but he does, like, hold on to the boxes and, like, be sad. That's literally all we know. He's kind of violent. Maybe he actually has girlfriends. I don't know.
And maybe he's trans. I don't know.
Maybe he is, yes. Maybe he's gay. Who knows? Maybe he's trans.
Gay.
Who knows? Yeah. Do we know, and was there any setup for that? I'll tell you, when I read it the first time,
I laughed.
And
I laughed out loud.
I was like, what is happening? Like, because there's no setup. There's no setup. I just assume, you know what, it was being written chapter by chapter, and the author was like, you know what, this is going to be the next chapter. And then, like, Reiji just doesn't react. He's just like, yeah, we could just die together. Or in the next chapter, we could just not die together and you could actually go to jail.
Yep.
Make it make sense? Make it make sense.
And then it's not addressed ever again afterwards.
Nope. Yes. Very, chapter to chapter storytelling. It doesn't feel like there's a full, like, overarching plot very much. I do think one of the things that can be blamed for this is just in general how, like, the serialization works. If there is a popular manga that is selling well, and it seems that, like, Boys Abyss sold very well at the start, that obviously they'll be like, hey, yeah, keep making chapters, keep going as long as you can until it stops being profitable or well-loved. And so, like, that can put pressure on artists to continue to make as many chapters as they can and not really try to change the status quo or to, like, try to, like, actually resolve something or make stories end, because then the manga ends and then you stop making money for you and the magazine you're publishing it. So, like, unfortunate, that does get in the way of, like, writing correct stories.
But does that usually happen to, like, a seinen like, sure, a shonen manga or a shoujo manga? Sure, you want to get as much kids hooked on it for as long as possible. That makes sense. But, like, isn't this supposed to be for, like young adults and like adults?
Yeah. Question. How much, like, you said this was unlike anything you'd ever read in a comic form. How many, like, romance manga / like, drama mangas have you read, at least recently?
Admittedly, not to completion, but I've been kind of plowing through a little bit of Rose of Versailles, and I've been...
a very old series, yes.
I love Maison Ikoku.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know, little bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
Books of Human Insects, which is, like, amazing. It's, like, probably as close in tone as to this as I can think of, but, like, done good.
Yeah. So there are a lot of manga that are in the romance, drama, sort of, like, melodrama, soap opera kind of, like, vibes series that go on for a very long time, and the status quo does not change very much. I've read a decent amount of these kind of things where it's like, a lot of times it's like, oh, high school romance, and it takes 150 chapters for the characters to hold hands. And then they just go on forever and forever, and the status quo doesn't really change, because if it does, then you can't, like, keep repeating the same formula again and again and again. We will talk about a series that is kind of like this. I've mentioned it before, and we'll talk about it at some point in time. There is a series called To Love Ru that is, like, hundreds of chapters about, like, a comedy kind of romance harem high school thing. And when I tell you there is zero forward momentum in the plot for these hundreds of chapters, and then it just ends without any forward momentum of the plot, this is pretty normal.
I mean, Maison Ikoku is kind of like that too, but I actually like all the characters in that book.
Yes. That's the thing. It's like, sometimes it doesn't matter if there's not a lot of forward momentum, if the characters are endearing and, like, something is being said. I mean, for example, a series I really love,
not romance or melodrama really, is Yotsuba. Yotsuba, slice of life, there is almost no, like, forward momentum. Like, sure, she eventually, like, you know, has to go buy a backpack to start school, and then her dad starts crying, and it's very cute. But each chapter is very self-contained. Most chapters don't build on the others. It's just random, like, little stuff happening, and that's fine because you love the characters. They're super cute, and it's wholesome, and it is kind of saying something about found family. The problem with Boys Abyss is that there is no forward momentum, and also you don't like the characters, and also they aren't learning anything, and also it's not endearing, and also you're feeling bad the entire time.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. That's an accurate description.
Yeah, and so, like, that is one problem with, like, the whole serialization of how manga works, but that's how all serialized manga are. From the most obscure thing to One Piece, these things have to, you know, come out every week or 2 weeks or monthly or whatever. But a lot of them find a way to make it work. The plot moves forwards, the characters are endearing, and it's saying something. And I just found reading this entire thing, I wanted something to actually happen. Yes, things happen. People threaten suicide all the time. Ooh, they go to Tokyo once. Woo, you think that's going to move the plot forward, but no, they end up back in the same place. Literally. They end up back in town.
Seriously, there's at least 3 points when I was reading this where I was like, oh, and we're chugging towards a conclusion here. And then I would look at how many chapters I had left to read, and I had hundreds of chapters left to read. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, when I was rereading it, I'm at, like, chapter, like, 80-something, and I'm like,
yes,
oh, I still have another 100 chapters. What do you mean I still have
what
another 100
could possibly happen?
Chapters? And then I remember all the stuff I still have to get through, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to start skimming. Yeah. Can you imagine what this was like to read week by week?
I bet you people just forgot what was going on. Like,
yes.
This probably benefits from a serialized format because you just forget what happens week to week, and the repetition doesn't hit you as hard. Like,
have you ever watched a soap opera like Young and the Restless or Days of Our Lives?
I had to do a project on soap operas one time, and I recognize the importance of the soap opera in serialized television. They're they're trash though.
Yes,
they are disposable trash.
But, like, you can literally, like, not show up for, like, a month to watch these daily shows, and you'll come back and you'll be like, yeah, I can generally figure out what's happening because they've done this before.
Kind of know what's going on, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what this series reminds me of. This is a soap opera that is disguising itself as a thriller / kind of deep look at what life means, but no, it's actually just, like, 3 kids in a trench coat threatening to commit suicide.
Yeah. Speaking on genre, I was going to ask you, do you think this counts as, like, modern Gothic literature in a way?
Explain. What do you mean? Where are you
like
coming
in
from?
Traditional Gothic literature, and I'm talking like, I'm not talking like Dracula. I'm talking like Turning of the Screw and stuff. Like, it's about, I mean, admittedly, usually it's about a female character encountering semi-supernatural events through the evils of masculine characters who are usually rich. Like, there's always a big house, and there's always a woman in the attic, and there's always, you think that this haunted looking guy is going to fall in love with you, but maybe he's not, and maybe he's going to actually murder you, and maybe he's got severe mommy issues, and maybe you've got severe mommy and daddy issues. Like, do you think this fits in that category?
I wasn't the one that did a degree in which I learned about all this good stuff. I mean, I'm sure in your film studies...
this is just gleaning from
English.
like English classes and stuff.
Okay, English.
Books I've read, but...
Oh, I'll tell you, my English classes were not this fun. Based on what you said, it does kind of fit. When you say a slightly supernatural element, there is, like, a hint at a little bit of supernatural in here with, like, when they talk about the will-o'-the-wisp or whatever, where, like, the 2 souls or whatever, when you commit suicide, they merge together, and then, like, one scene, Yuko, like, sees this, like, kind of, like, spirit go across the forest.
Yeah,
that's kind
and
of,
it also
yeah.
it sort of motions towards past lives, or like like repeating history. Obviously, is like a big theme in this book. But like that kind of tilted my head. And then, of course, there's the chapter where Miss Sako is keeping a woman in her fucking shed somewhere.
Yeah, and then the table tennis in the table tennis room.
In the table tennis room, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, so there's a lot of stuff. And like, honestly, there was sometimes when I was reading it, I was like, is it going to be revealed that there's something about this town that is kind of supernatural that is forcing the people to stay here?
Yeah.
No, it's just intergenerational trauma. But
which is also part of Gothic literature, I'll add.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah. It might be. I mean, it fits a lot of what you were describing. Does that make this series better in your eyes?
It makes it it's already kind of interesting. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. What I'll say is, despite everything we've said, I don't hate this series. I've read the entirety of it 3 times. I'm not going to do that with something like even a series I didn't like Me and Roboco. Like, I didn't read the whole thing through 3 times. I barely read it more than once. I don't hate this. For example, what do you think about the art?
It's great. It's good art.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Like, aesthetically, it looks good. The author, she is very good at drawing like insane people faces.
Yeah.
Like, you can like feel kind of like the horror, and like you can feel it sometimes like the loss, and you can feel like how people feel stuck. And some of the repeating imagery is good with like the fish, even though I don't really know what the fish means. It's repeating, so it's kind of cool. And
yeah, I don't understand that either.
Like, I don't know if the fish actually means something. Yeah, or if it's like, oh, she is the fish. She's in her little box, her glass box that people can look at her. Let her out of her glass box. But, like, either way, it looks good. It is a great series to look at. Like, personally, this isn't my favorite style of art. As I'm sure you've learned from me loving, like, Baki the Grappler. This kind of, like, softer type of art with, like, the traditional anime look of characters isn't my favorite, but like I can't deny that it's very pleasing to look at. It's not super generic. That's too. Sometimes series that fit into like this melodrama romance kind of genre do get very samey, and at least this series does stand out with like, I guess like you'd say like the horror elements at least of like how it's drawn. So that's good. I like the aesthetic. I do think that as entertainment, like just pure entertainment, treating this like a soap opera, it's not bad. It wastes time. Like you said, you read all 183 chapters and you couldn't put it down, so
I gotta give Minenami credit. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
Like, I had to continue. I had to know how this was gonna all end. I still hesitate to call it good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's good. It's fine. I like parts of it. I like some ideas that it has, even though the ideas don't really get addressed, or they get kind of forgotten or not really come back to, or nothing really ever happens. But like, it does give some cool ideas. I'll say I really did think it was going to be more of a critique about like idol culture than it ended up being.
Yeah, it kind of drops that. It like picks it back up a little bit, but it's not really about that. I found that odd too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, because like in one of the early chapters, like Reiji is like, oh right, this girl who's like this idol, she's a person like the rest of us. And then Chako makes a comment about like, oh, how Nagai is gonna like quit being an idol. Chako makes a comment where she's like, oh, I guess I gotta find another girl to root for. And then Reiji is like, oh, she's not treating an idol like a person.
Yeah, they're like disposable.
Oh, yeah. And so like, it has these interesting ideas, and they're like portrayed well, and they're drawn well, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. And then the story moves on to touch on something else without like drawing that first idea to any sort of conclusion. Because like, oh, she's an idol because she was kind of pushed into that industry, and then she left that industry, and then she went back to the industry, and then she left the industry, and now she's like living up on the mountain with Reiji, I guess, like,
or she's dead.
And like, speaking of our, I guess, second main character, Aoi Nagai, or Nagi, I'm sorry, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name, but this is a character that made me sad, but in like a different way than most of the other the story did. What do you think about her as a character?
About Nagai?
Yeah.
I
Or
think
Nagi,
I mean, I wasn't charmed by her initially, you know, for the statutory rape, but
Yeah.
like it's an understandable backstory. It is in a way, not to bring up like Watchmen or whatever, but what's beautiful is that about that book and also the TV series Watchmen is how it like it's about what would actually drive a person to put on a mask and go fight crime, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
like the conceit of the characters in that book and TV show. And in a lot of ways, I sort of drew parallels to this of like what drives a person into the idol industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like any artist, you kind of have to be a little narcissistic, but you also have to be like to to like want to perform. Maybe you also have to be a little brokered. So I kind of thought that was interesting. And then she gets locked in a cabinet for the last part of the book, and she's no longer a character. She's like a plot device. So it was like,
Yeah. Oh, what? That happened just at the end? She becomes a plot device, you think?
Okay, yeah, definitely a little bit sooner than that. But right before she gets trapped in the cabinet, they're like motioning towards something interesting, and then
Yeah.
nothing comes about it.
Yes. The cyclical storytelling. Again, you think there will be growth, but no, they just put they just put the girl in a closet.
Like the idea that this person is like thinks that they have to pay repentance for an accident that's totally out of their control. Like I love that kind of character in any work. I think that's a very relatable thing. That's like part of the grieving process, right? And sometimes you don't get past that. But again, nothing comes about it. The person who did that to her is nothing happens to that person.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta like so like very close to the end of the series, we finally get more of her backstory, and it's like, oh, she lost her family in earthquake, and the resulting tsunami, and then her uncle tells her it's her fault that her parents died. So now for the rest of her life, she has to apologize, and then maybe her parents are going to forgive her. I wish we would have gotten no backstory for her instead of that.
Really?
Yep. I thought that was. I'm sorry, I thought that was stupid. I was like, I am sorry. You have created, even in this series, if we're looking at the world, like the realm of reality in this series, her uncle is comically evil for saying that.
Oh yeah, it's not
Yeah.
anything an actual human being would say to a
No.
child.
It is he's purely a plot contrivance. That he's not even a character. Like he's literally like, oh, let's slap a couple aspects of a person together. Literally the worst ones we can think of. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like even as I am suspending my disbelief for the entirety of the story, that I'm like, no. That's stupid. That's not a good enough explanation for why she is the way she is for the entire rest of the story. I would have preferred we don't get a backstory. She's just a character. She's just someone who has no reason to live. And then, like, if she were to, like, find a reason to live, that's all I need. I don't need to know why she is broken. Especially if that's the reason they're gonna give me, something completely unrelated to the rest of the story. They just give us this flashback, and it's just a bunch of new characters that are not related to the story at all. They literally invent the uncle just so Reiji can be like, I'm gonna go kill him.
I gotta go do this one last thing.
And it's like, no. I would have preferred we don't find out. She and Reiji are just able to work through it. They're able to find a reason to live even in each other, even though that would be extremely, like, silly. At least that's, like, something other than whatever this is. Yes. And then her uncle just happens to have phoned Reiji from Mr. Isamori's phone, and, like, the night after Reiji discovers that he exists and is like, I'm gonna go kill this man, and then he happens to contact Reiji.
yeah, he just happens to show up, and he happens to bring Nozue, which no hospital would allow ever.
No, he must have just stolen a man from a hospital with no one to note it. Like, okay. And I think at that point you could really feel that the story was like rushing towards a conclusion because they had to finish these things. So it's like, oh, we don't have time to have a natural way that Reiji's going to find the weird uncle.
She did have a natural way to end the story at least 2 other times. But yeah,
oh
I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
yes. No, the story could have ended multiple times by now, but the way that it was chosen to end, and then so Reiji doesn't end up killing him. He and a guy just go off and they like leave the bleeding uncle in a field so that Miss Shiba can just pick him up in her car and be like, oh, now you live in my closet.
Off at the edge of town.
No, I think she puts him in her closet and keeps him instead.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah.
And then that's the last we see of these characters. So at that point in time, Miss Shiba is never mentioned again, so are we just to assume that she continues to go unpunished for all her horrible deeds and just has a man trapped in her closet for the rest of the conceivable future? I'm sorry. That man sucked, yes, but he had a child and a wife who are evidently going to come looking for him. Yeah. And she just decides, oh, yeah. And then Miss Shiba's like, oh, actually, I kind of give up on Reiji because it's the second last chapter and I have to do this. I'm just going to take this man and put him in my spare room now. And now he's mine. I have another little person to just keep as my own pet. And it's like, I'm sorry. Is this, am I supposed to be, like, content with this ending? No. No, I'm not. So anyways, to condense all the rambling I just did, I think Nagai is a wasted potential in a character. I think she could have been a really good character. I think or at the very least, she could have been like a plot-driving element, which she was. She did just, for most part, exist to just drive the plot forward. Wow, what a wonderfully written female character. But, like, she could have been a better foil to Reiji. But no, she just kind of showed up whenever the plot needed her to, like, push him back to suicide. And you're like, come on.
Yeah, the way she weaves in and out of the plot. I had this other thought literally yesterday, because I was listening to a thing and they brought it up, and my brain can't help itself but connect things like freaking Legos. Did you get, like, Hitchcock vibe? Have you ever seen a Hitchcock movie?
I don't think so. But
okay.
Explain.
Because I think I'm not gonna say this right. Minenami, is that right?
Yeah.
I think she's seen all of them. Because I think she takes a lot of like plot elements from them. There's this movie literally called The Lady Vanishes, about there are people on a train in Europe. They're on a train ride, and there's literally a woman, and she's being chased by people, and then she disappears, and she's just gone for the whole movie, and you never figure out what happened to her. And, like, that's how I feel about some of these characters. They just sort of weave in and out of the narrative, regardless of their importance or not, based on how the author is feeling, and if their plot devices or not to the story and what Reiji's going through at a particular moment. Similarly, and probably the most obvious parallel is Gen is just a play on Norman Bates. He's just Psycho. Only instead of becoming his mom, he becomes Reiji's mom. Yeah.
Yep. Except there's also no setup for it.
And there's no setup. Well, it's certainly not as subtle. Yeah. He's violent, and he just kind of attacks people at random.
Yeah. And, like, they could have said something about, like, this was a guy who just happened to murder someone when he was in grade 5. But, like, that aspect of it isn't really treated in any way other than, yes, he do these crazy things because he did murder a man when he was in grade 5, so now he can do these crazy things. And it's like, okay.
Because he also has mommy issues. Or maybe he's sexually attracted to Reiji's mom.
Or he just likes Reiji, or he wants to be Reiji's mom. Like, we don't know. He just goes to jail, and now he's out of the story.
Yeah.
We wrapped up that plot thread. Okay. And then it's never mentioned again. Then he gets out of jail, and then that's it. And you're like, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
In regards to, like, these kind of, like plot elements. How would you say that this series handles sensitive or dark topics such as like trauma, abuse, suicide?
Poorly. Verging on disrespectfully.
Oh, how so? Do you think?
Because there's like, I don't know, it doesn't, everything that the book sort of like laser focuses on aren't the right, as if there's a right part of like things like suicide or rape or murder, but like in anything conventional they would focus on different aspects than what Minenami focuses on, and it feels wrong and it feels bad.
Yeah, it's like these serious topics are treated simply as like plot contrivances or like window dressing on the plot. It's just something that happens, and it's a good way to make, I was gonna say, it's a good way to make something happen in the next part of the story progress, but like the story doesn't really progress. But anyways, it's like, oh, it's just a thing that happened so that the next scene can happen. We're not really, there are some points where we do focus on what some of the characters are feeling. Like, it does we see a little bit how Yuko feels about the fact that she was like forced to prostitute herself when she was younger, and how her mother also felt having to do the same thing. And it's like, yes, but then you just spent 1 page on that, or like 2 pages throughout the entire story. It's not treated with any like seriousness. It's just like mentioned in passing, as if that's enough. The fact that we just allude to it is enough to like be like, yeah, it happened. Anyways, on to the next.
It's the way like genre fiction treats, what do you call them? Like props. Like the way that a James Bond movie will treat a gadget, or I don't know, a Star Wars movie will treat a spaceship. It's like they're vehicles for things to happen, but not necessarily for like character growth or like themes.
To bring it a little bit back towards my little intro, do you think this kind of storytelling has a place in like media generally, or like this genre, or what kind of story is like it's fine to exist and it's worthwhile in some way?
Oh, well, I'm no authority on that. I think,
in your opinion.
Again, I couldn't stop reading it. So they were doing something right. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's entertainment. The closest I've been able to come to with finding out why this story exists is for one extreme on the spectrum of just, this is purely entertainment. It is a soap opera. It's for you to sit there and turn your mind off and then read through a story, and then once the story is done, you're like, yep, that happened, and then you move on. I do think it is trying to say something, but I don't think it said anything. So for the purpose of this argument, I'll just say it didn't really say anything deep about life or relationships between people or light or death or anything. It's a story, and things happen because that's how stories happen, and people talk to each other because that's what happens in stories, and events happen because that's what happens in stories, and the story starts, and then it has a middle, it goes up and down, and then it ends because that's how stories do. And it's a good way to spend 183 chapters of just reading.
I think the value of something like this, beyond thinking about it critically the way that like we're doing right now, I think the value lies in similar to the Lifetime movies, in like almost like being thankful that your life isn't as crappy as the people in these characters. Like, I think that's why people watch those crappy Lifetime movies, right? It's like, oh, those poor people, they have it so bad. At least I don't have it that bad. It's like kind of aspirational, I guess.
Yeah, that is what you could say about this. You'd be like, oh, these people want to kill themselves because of these reasons. I want to kill myself, but like, my life is way less bad than theirs, so like, I can get out of my town, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, when you put it that way, that doesn't sound great, but...
Yeah, I can't, like I said, I've been thinking about this a lot, and like, what's the point? And I think the point is just for entertainment. And it is entertaining. It's dramatic if you can like ignore the way that like serious topics are treated, and you ignore the fact that you'd like to see character growth. It looks good. It's interesting. It keeps you relatively engaged for the whole run. I just really, really wish it had a better ending.
It really needs a better ending. The ending is terrible.
But unfortunately, that's how a lot of manga go. I think it is because of the serialization problem, where things are supposed to like last longer and longer, and the longer something lasts, the more it builds up towards a great conclusion, and then things end either because it's not as successful or the author burns out, not because it was a natural place to end. I think a lot of series end like that, and that's why there's a lot of series where people are unhappy with the endings. Even some series that end good, people aren't happy with. Ooh, we'll get to that series eventually. But like, unfortunately, like, is that part of the genre? And by genre, I mean manga in general. Like, or like long form manga that are like hundreds of chapters. The end happens and you just kind of have to deal with it, and then you just go on to the next manga and just be like, yeah, anyways, that's that.
Yeah, that is kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all those chapters of Berserk where they're on that frickin' boat. and then the author died.
Yeah.
And so, it's still not done.
Yeah. So, we can't say anything about Berserk. We don't have the ending yet. We don't know if it ends well or not. Though I have had some people say, well, yes, it did end. But, we can't say anything, make a decision on Berserk yet. It's still in progress. But it is just like a part of manga. They just sometimes end not good. There are some manga that I love, that I think are great and super fun, and I know the ending kind of sucks. But it doesn't really make my enjoyment of those series worse, because like I know that's part of the industry and that's part of what happens. I'm not going to hold it against an author that, oh, their series got less popular, so now they are told they got to wrap it up, or they were getting burnt out because they've been writing a chapter every week because
they were sleeping in the offices of Shueisha trying to do deadlines.
Yeah, like I'll never hold it against them, but like for a lot of those series, it's like I really like the characters and I really like the story, and a lot of the things endeared me to it. And so I'm just kind of sad that this series didn't. Like I said, I think it had potential. It started interesting. It had good ideas, and the art was great, and it was pretty tense. Like the author's very good at making like tense scenes, and you feel tension. There's just some parts that didn't get together well, and it just ended up in a feel bad series that it ends and you still feel bad.
Yeah, I'd be curious to check out what else that Minenami has done.
She has one other series that I have not read. It seems more like a high school kind of like comedy thing.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Love the different in genre. Like I might check it out because like her artwork is nice, and if it's like a lighter story and it's one of those stories where like you don't expect anything deep or any type of ending that will like give you some sort of satisfaction because it's just like a high school comedy, whatever, then yeah, that might be perfect for her type of like writing and art. We'll see. Yeah. Maybe I'll go check it out.
Like I'm just curious, like, because there's a shift kind of in tone. Again, right after the first volume, where early in the book, she's having like Chaco do like kind of chibi faces and like kind of exaggerated proportions and stuff like that.
There's comedy,
and then that gets dropped. So I'd be curious to see like what her comedy chops, like what they lead to.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that aspect of it kind of got dropped. Like, it had, like, I guess, like, like a little bit of levity when everyone else is, like, so doom and gloom, like... And, hey, if this story was about, like, oh, witness the story of how this girl who had lots of hope in life gets totally broken by the society around her, and this guy she likes who's literally just, like, a black hole of despair. Okay, sure. But again, no, the story didn't focus on that. It focused on the kind of bland guy who just for some reason everybody wants to commit suicide with.
One of the least likable protagonists of any comic ever, which is admittedly pretty high bar.
Very, yeah. yeah, it's unfortunate because like he's not very interesting either. He's our main character, but it's like
he's just a sad sack. He's worse
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
he's just like, oh, I'm sad. I gotta have sex with 2 hot chicks.
Yes,
Except one
that's
of
the
them's
other
my
thing.
teacher.
Oh, boo-hoo, I'm so sad. I have family obligations I have to take care of, and every woman I talk to wants to have sex with me.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Oh,
Fuck
every
you.
woman and also like all my friends. Yes, my best girlfriend and my best boyfriend and also the hot idol and also my hot teacher and yeah. Okay. But like it's implied that he is pretty. So like I guess there's that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I guess people think he's attractive. Sure.
Yeah.
Also,
Uh-huh.
that's a 17-year-old.
Also, characters
go to
straight up
jail.
say, yeah, oh, he's hot now because he's so dangerous. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. Also, if they could like stop making like mention of like literally both Nagai and Miss Shiba are like, oh, I'm breaking the law because you're 17, haha, and it's like. Okay, and there's at least 2 other points in the stories where somebody mentions, oh, that person's underage, cool, hot, and it's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Could you not?
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's like really
Yeah.
gross.
And like, girl, don't write. Why are you writing this? No. Yeah, I mean, is that unfortunately an aspect about a lot of manga? Yes. Did I need that to get added to this to make it even worse? No, I didn't.
Like, admittedly, like, do you think that's... I don't know. I'm more used to seeing that in the reverse, where it's a young female character that gets ogled and creepily handled. Like, do you think this was like an intentional like inverse of that, or do you think that that's just the genre, or I don't know. Like, what's the point? I'm guessing is like, why?
Oh, what's the point? Yeah, why? What I've been asked this whole time.
Is this your poorly disguised fetish? Like, I don't know.
Could be. Is it just the author being edgy? Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, I think, was it done on purpose that the 2 ladies that Reiji, a child, sleep with are adults? Yes, it was that was, the story did do that. You can't accidentally make the story do that, especially since they both pointed out. I'm going to say it was probably done, A, because, like, it's got to be a story about a high school student, because so many stories got to be about high school students. But also, it's like, these are women who, like, have control, you would say, in some ways. Like, more control than he has, like, a beautiful idol and a teacher who's in an actual position of power. I don't know what it's trying to say with that. I don't know what it's trying to say with that. Like,
yeah.
Because it's like, it's never really shown that, like, Reiji, like, sure, it shows that, like, he doesn't have a lot of control in his life, but it's never really shown in those scenes where he is having sexual relations with older women. It's never really, it's shown that, like, he is not in control, or, like, it's not portrayed like he's being abused. Like, that he is.
Yeah, like, he's not traumatized by these events, but, like, in the real world, I don't know. Yeah. I think you would be, right? Like,
I think it's unfortunately playing into like the thing of it's like, oh, if a younger male is like gets hit on or like approached by an older woman, he should be like, oh yeah, attaboy, sport, look at you.
Right. It's like a sexual conquest, like, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately a trope that persists in media and also just in society in general.
Yeah, that's not unique to, certainly not manga or Japan. Yeah. And
the thing is, and this story is just using that again, like all these other topics that it touches on but never really explores. It's just using that as a plot point. Like, it could have said something about that. But no, it just went on to the next idea. Like, oh, yep, it happened.
Yeah.
Which is
but it's so sad because now Reiji can't be Chaco's first. It's like, oh God.
And she's like, oh, I thought we were gonna be each other's first kiss and all that. Just like in the backstory between young Isimori and Reiji's mom,
he also has the same idea. He's like, oh, I thought we were going to lose our virginity together and we're going to get married and have kids, but no, actually, she was forced to prostitute herself by her mother, and now I feel victimized by this? I'm sorry, dude.
No, that was crazy. That was insane.
I'm like,
everyone
dude.
else feels like they are internalizing the trauma, but she doesn't. What?
Yeah,
what?
It's like, okay, now I believe he's an awful person because he did an awful thing when he was like 17, or 14 or whatever it was. Like, I was like, boy. And do I think it's possible that like a 14-year-old boy could think that? Yeah. But I think most other people would like not be an awful person like that.
Yeah, would recognize that it's not at all about them, and like this person's been put into a horrible situation and needs empathy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, this was interesting. There is, when I was reading this, there are a couple different manga that this reminded me of. And we will, at the very least, because it's a manga that I really, really love, we are at some point in time going to talk about a series that in many ways is very, very similar to this. But is so good. And I think a lot of people who've read these series might have seen like the comparison between this and Blood on the Tracks.
I've heard about this.
By Oshimi Shuzo, who is one of my favorite authors, and also that series is awesome. We are going to talk about it because imagine if this kind of story was like done well.
Okay.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
That's kind of hard, but okay.
I know. And it does have some of the same pitfalls, as in it goes on way too long. But like we'll get to it. Maybe not next time. Maybe we'll take a break and do some levity next episode that I have to lead. But like, we'll talk about that one. But anyway, so this kind of story could be done, quote unquote, well, or at least handled with some more care, and or have an ending that's like slightly better. But
yeah, or maybe likable characters.
Yes, or yeah. But like, here's the thing: this if we're reading this as just entertainment, I think it did what it needed to do. I don't want this to come across as like we're just hating on this series, because it does have. It's like in some ways it's good. Why didn't I have this kind of like this grace and forgiveness to me and Roboco? Sorry, me and Roboco. But like, yeah, I do think the author, she's talented with her art for sure. And like, if this story was maybe only like 50 chapters long, it could have been great. I think it could have been good if it was like tight and only touched on a couple themes, just a couple of like a few volumes long, maybe like at most 100 chapters if you could condense it, and then have an ending that was good. How would you have ended this? If we're gonna like be upset about the ending so much, how would you have ended it?
I think it felt like it was wrapping up at around 50, and I was like, okay, this is starting to make either 50 or 80. I can't remember what was going on. What was
happening at that point?
See, I can't even remember because it keeps repeating itself.
Which of the moments of suicide was it?
I think it is when Chako decides to abandon like her love of Nozoe, like her enjoyment of Nozoe's material, and she like throws away all the papers. I was like, okay, that's feeling kind of organic. Like, we're gonna wrap up some stuff here. And Mishiba is gonna the law is coming down on Mishiba and stuff like that. Okay, that makes sense. No, doesn't happen.
No. And
then I think it's got to be close to 100, right? Where Yuri gets hit by the car, right? When's that happen?
Yuko, like the mom gets hit by the car.
Yuko gets hit by the car. Yeah, right after that probably would have been a good wrap-up point. Yeah. Honestly, even after Gen reveals that he killed Reiji's dad, that probably would have been a fine ending point.
Yeah, no, I think a good ending would have been Yuko attempts to commit suicide with her son, fails, only manages to kill herself. Reiji is obviously traumatized in some way, but by that, but realize like, oh, you know, that part of the trauma is gone, I guess, or whatever. So he actually builds a relationship with Nagai. Like,
Right.
actually gets to know her. And you can see them actually talking and doing things together and developing some kind of relationship. And maybe they don't even end up together, but at least they were able to, like, make a human connection that isn't negative, and then they're able to move from that. Chako gets to go to university, Gen goes to therapy, Mishiba goes to jail, Nagai's uncle doesn't exist, he's not a character. We don't get her backstory, it's fine. She's just able to find a reason to live by making an actual human connection with someone who doesn't want something from her or using her as a prop. Like,
right,
Reiji
it's not
actually,
transactional relationship.
Like, he gets over the fact that, oh, this is an idol that I idolized, but actually treats her as a person, and then they have a normal person relationship. Yeah, that kind of ending. Also, maybe Miss Shiba doesn't even exist in the story. We didn't need that. That's just more.
Miss Shiba is crazy.
Yeah.
What an insane person to write in your story.
I really do think she kind of ruined it because, like, she's so out of, like, just insane, and like none of that is necessary. She didn't have to exist. The story could have been fine without her. Yes, she moved the plot a million times to once again get back to the same position, but, like, the only time I enjoyed her as a character is when she and Yuko were, like, trying to out-juke each other by, like, trying to, like, control Reiji, and they're, like, trying to, like, ooh, I'm so smart, I'm gonna get in front of her with this 4D chess. That was the only enjoyable part for those two characters, because they're just, like, evil people trying to out-evil each other, and it's like, that's fine, don't interact with anyone else.
And the whole time Shiva's like, oh, at least I'm not as evil as this bitch.
Yeah, and it's like, girl, maybe not, but, like, stop. Do not, like, try to buy Reiji from his mom. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Okay, who is Reiji's dad?
Yes, so this is an interesting thing, because it's like, at one point in time you're like, oh, is it Mr. Isumori? No, it's not. Is it Gen's dad? No. Is it his own grandpa? No. Is it just his dad? Is it just, like, his brother's dad?
Yeah, is it just the guy who he thought was his dad?
Because at one point in time, that's like I think that is the real answer, but then there's the one scene where he is interacting with Kazu, his brother, and then he's like, no, we're actually related by blood. Your dad is my dad. And then Kazu is like, makes this expression.
He's like, totally.
But then, like, Reiji has, like, crazy eyes, and he's like, yup, we're blood related. And then Kazu's like, yeah, that's it. So I'm like, so.
Definitely, dude.
Yeah. So, but then it's implied later on. Wait, I always forget about this because it's so weird. There's this one time where, like, it talks about, like, Yuko being, like, the nurse's aide. She, like, has a patient that looks like Mr. Ishimori did when he was younger. And then that kid is like, oh yeah, the famous author is a distant relative of mine. And then I think it's implied she sleeps with him.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I don't understand. Like, did that happen?
And then, I know, it's like, did that happen? Because then she's like, oh, that was you, wasn't it? And then Mr. Isumori's like, yeah, it is. And then he dies.
It was
and I'm
me
like,
the whole time.
And I'm like, so is that who Reiji's dad is?
But,
just
like,
kid?
multiple points in the book, they're like, no, he's not my dad.
Yeah, but, like, was it this random kid that is vaguely related to Mr. Isumori?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't, like, does it matter? Who cares?
It doesn't matter because it's fucking nonsense.
Yeah. It would have been nice. The one question that we actually kind of have is, like, I guess I'm just gonna assume, yeah, you know what? He is just Kazu's brother. They're actually related. They're half brothers, I guess. His dad is actually his dad, and his mom lied to his dad about who his dad is so that, like, she could control everyone
so that
crazy.
He could get abused and then she could kill him. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
She's insane and evil, and it
but
makes me feel bad because I don't
all the
feel
time.
Bad.
Like,
yeah, makes me feel bad because I don't feel bad for her. And also, what do you mean she doesn't die? She just
I
says
guess
she gets
just
arrested.
doesn't die. Yeah.
She gets arrested. Does that mean she's in jail?
Well, looking at the Japanese penal system and how it treats Mrs. Shiba, I bet you she isn't in jail. Or even
No.
Gen. I bet you she's not in jail.
Yeah. So, yeah. Another chapter would have been great.
No.
You're like, no, it should have ended at chapter 50. Yes. Anyways, what would you rate it out of 10?
This is either... I can't make up my mind if this is like a 1 star, like so bad it's good, or a 5 star. It's like, I like parts of it, but I didn't like parts of it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Why? What would you rate it?
I think I'd give it like a solid 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
It gave me entertainment, didn't hurt my eyeballs to look at it, had some interesting ideas, really fumbled the landing, but like, hey, that's storytelling, I guess. Anyways, yeah. great episode, great series. Yeah. Would you recommend this? I mean,
No.
I mean, I don't think I would really recommend it, but like, I wouldn't dissuade people from reading it. You want to see something insane? But like, in a less fun way than like reading Baki is insane? Go read Baki instead. Go read Baki the Grappler.
Backy's fun.
Yes.
I can
it's
put
dumb
down
and
Backy
nonsensical.
and be satisfied.
You put down this and you were sad? You felt bad?
Well, yes. And I had to keep reading to know what happened next. And it only got worse.
Yep. And thus, what I would put in the genre, a feel-bad manga. I'll bring some more feel-bad manga later on.
Oh, good.
some weirder ones than this. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, glad this is the one that you read the entirety of.
Yeah, me too.
Glad you read the entirety of this in just 2 volumes of One Punch Man.
I read 3 volumes of One Punch Man. I'd go back
Sorry.
to One Punch Man. I've said I'd go back to One Punch Man.
Yeah.
If I only read, honestly, if I was a slower reader and I only read like 20 volumes of this, I would be like, no, I'm not coming back to this.
Yeah. But anyways, now you've read the whole thing and now you are cursed to the same fate as me. Now you're going to have to think about this from time to time and be like, what was the point?
Yeah.
Yep. And that's life, baby. That's life. Thanks for listening. You can find me, Diane, on Instagram at @1littlegremlin. That's 1_little_gremlin.
And you can find me, Jack Stewardson, on Blue Sky. That's Phantom Power Press, spelt with an F.
If you'd like to follow the show, you can do so on Bluesky and Pinksky at panelpalspodcast.bsky.social. All of our links are in the show notes. If you like the show, please rate and review on your podcast provider of choice. Panel Pals is a Jack Stewardson, Diane Hitchings co-production with editing by Jack Stewardson. Our musical theme is Found by Stemchamps.